We are recording. I have Zach Grossack with me. This is episode 4, after I said I won't do an introduction. Welcome, Zach.
Thank you. Thank you.
So you are a third year at Tufts University.
Well, I just finished my third year.
So you're finished?
Today, yeah.
Oh, wow. May 4th, 4:44 p.m., Zach Grossack is finished with his third year of college.
Yeah, it's crazy.
How do you know how you did?
Not yet, but not terrible either. I know I didn't do terribly.
Yeah.
So that's lucky.
Lucky? That seems like an odd choice of words.
I chose it on purpose. No. Yeah, I mean, I'm happy I have one more year. It can be a little difficult trying to juggle bridge in college.
Yeah.
So, lucky, I think, is the right word.
I see what you're saying.
In some senses, I've been able to still go to a lot of tournaments that I wanted to go to.
Right.
I actually can still work twice a week playing bridge, once or twice a week playing club game. Because I'm so close to where I'm from. So it's been a good gig so far.
So it's the same bridge club that Jory took you to. Jory is Zach's mom, by the way, for those that don't know.
And there are actually like 3 large ones around the Boston area. So you can just choose one.
Okay, so you're not tied to one club.
No.
I actually played bridge today myself at the Jefferson Bridge Association here in Charlottesville.
How did that go for you, Johnny?
I feel like you're not that excited to really get the answer. Am I right?
What an astute man you are.
Aha. As my old golf instructor used to say, one down. Or one up. When's the last time you played bridge? Oh, you told me. Sorry,
I actually played yesterday.
You played at the club yesterday.
Yeah, I had a lovely student named Sandra at the club.
Yeah. How did it go?
We did fine. We had some hiccups.
Yeah.
We had one minus 1130, one minus 1100, and one
1130.
We had 3 numbers in the 1100s: 1130, 1190, and 1100. It was
God!
We had a 60%.
Wow, not bad.
Yeah.
Were you vulnerable on the 1100 or?
I don't think we were.
8, 4, 5 down.
5 down.
So, do you care to talk about your style as a professional player when you're playing with somebody like Sandra?
Oh, so that's something good. I started being a pro. This is like my 5th year being a bridge pro, and I'm 20. And so it's very clear to me that you need to play. You can't really play the same game you're playing with a student or a client that you do with. You can't play the same game with anyone you play with. You need to tailor your partnerships no matter what.
Yeah.
And it doesn't feel great saying this, but you need to. It's basically varying levels of a partnership game. When are you playing? When is it a true partnership game? And that's at its highest level, right? And that's, I feel like when I'm playing with my brother, and he probably would say no, he still doesn't. He's an asshole. No, but when I'm playing with my brother, it's supposed to be to the best degree possible a partnership game. We're playing off each other, feeding off each other, and playing with each other against the opponents. But when you play with someone who either hires you to teach them but still wants to do well, or someone who wants to do well, wants to win at the club, maybe learn something and have a good overall experience, you sort of I've learned you can kind of take control a little bit. You can do things. You can be extra careful with your carding. make sure they don't do it, do anything that's going to ruin the board because they weren't clear on what you wanted as a partner. That sometimes goes as far. I mean, I didn't learn this on my own. I had a lot of people in my life who have taught me bridge and taught me tactics and strategy to bridge.
Yeah.
And playing with a client is something that a lot of people have done for a long time, and there are people who've mastered it. I don't feel like I have yet, but I feel like it's an art form almost. It's a little different.
Huh.
And this is again, there's varying degrees of this.
Yeah.
And it's still bridge, and you want them to improve, and it's hard for me to strike. Here's what I'm thinking right now. It's hard for you to. It's striking the balance between doing what you think is the absolutely correct bridge action, and perhaps allowing your partner to falter, right? Knowing that they might not understand what's going on.
Yeah.
Or not doing that and maybe even pointing it out later. And I'm still trying to work that, finding the right balance of just doing the thing that you know is probably the right, know in your heart is the right bridge action to find out what they have, and they might very well not understand it, throw you off course, or just doing, Well,
it sounds like you're talking about bidding more than play when you say that.
Bidding, it's definitely bidding more than play. Bidding is a lot more about the partnership than the plays. I mean, first of all, when you're declaring, there's no partnership in declaring.
Yeah.
One hand's the dummy, and when you're defending, there's a lot more. I feel like there's a lot less subjectivity on defense than there is in bidding. There's a lot more of what's right, what's clear, and a lot. I don't know. That's a tough question, but it's definitely in bidding. It's so much more in bidding that you need to tailor your game to your partner than in your defense. For me, I've actually had very positive experiences with my student clientele here around the Boston area because most of my people are very easy, and they're very eager to learn, and they understand that I'm me, and I have this kind of reputation, I would say, as being a little bit odd as a bridge player, a little bit out there occasionally, so I can almost use that as a defense for if I do something really wacky.
Gotcha.
So it doesn't always look like I'm trying to do something crazy. Like I still play my game when I'm playing with this client. Like I don't have this thing where I'm worried about my students and my clients seeing me do something that's not standard bridge. Let's say let's make it like a 4-card overcall or a 5-card preempts.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people have had to deal with, and I know many people have had to deal with students and clients that would say to them, "What, you only had 5 cards for this preempt?" And this is after the student makes a mistake because of it. You only had 5 cards for this preempt. I could never play you for that. And I make it very clear that when you start playing with me that I don't really change my game, right? So I say when we're non-ball, we play new suit non-forcing instead. Just to. It's one of the
Christina Madsen.
One of the things I require when
Christina plays that.
What?
Christina likes to play that.
Of course, Christina plays that. Don't even compare me to Christina. Christina is like the absolute most aggro player. She spec doubles like no one's imagined. You include all of it. She can hear it.
Oh yeah.
She is just. She tries so hard. There's the mantra like men are more aggressive and women like there's that whole mantra. And like Christina's like life mission is to eliminate that in any way she can, like in every way she can. She is so. It's like she goes extra hard to eliminate that. She is amazing. She is amazing. She will drop the hammer. She will punish. She is amazing.
Have you played an event with her?
I have. I played the 0 to 10K mix with Christina. And we were getting so many random numbers all and she makes Christina makes you play the system, right? Where you make one bid. She makes you play her system.
Yeah.
And it's if you have a balanced hand with 5 cards in a major and a minimum opening bid, you open it at the 2 level, right? So you have 5 spades, balanced shape outside, 11 to 13, you open 2 spades.
Right.
Right? So I had a hand that was 5-2, 4-2 or something. Or maybe no. Let's do it better. 5 spades, 4 hearts, 2 and 2.
Okay.
So I said, okay, this is balanced enough. So I try opening 2 spades with Christina.
Yeah.
I had 12 counter, 13. I had maybe top of my I had 13. Okay. And it goes 3 clubs.
Smash.
And Christina, I can see that she wants to smash this. She takes, she passes in enough tempo.
Yeah.
In which that I'm like, okay, I'm gonna still bid 3 hearts because I have a good hand. I have this like ace king 5th and ace queen 4th or something like that.
Yeah.
So I bid 3 hearts, and Christina gives me the stare. She almost calls the director.
Oh my God!
I'm not allowed to bid, but the opponents also call the director. Like, she's more mad than the opponents that I've taken another bid, even though she didn't really break tempo. But everyone at the table, like one of the opponents, seemed to think she did, and she probably thought she did because she really wanted to double 3 clubs. Because what happened is the guy self-raised himself to 4 clubs, and Christina doubled this fast and on lightning. And whatever, he went for like 500. Christina had nothing, but she had club length. She had like nothing. She had like a 5 count.
Yeah.
And she was like, she wanted to double 3 clubs, and then like went 4 clubs. And she's like, all right, I'll double this. Anyway, I got screamed at because I broke her system. So you don't really.
What did the director? What did they let the results stand?
I didn't agree that she broke tempo, and he didn't. They didn't rule against us at all because the person on my right also agreed that she didn't break tempo. Oh. And like Christina wasn't making it clear why she was mad, because I knew she was mad because why she was mad is because I'm not allowed to bid, right?
Are you allowed to have a 4-card suit though? Are you allowed to have 4 hearts?
Not really. I'm not 100% sure. I'm not sure if that was allowed.
I played my first ever world championship event with Christina.
Yeah.
As my teammate.
Yeah.
And I played with Migri, who Christina introduced me to, and the sweetener was that Christina, she emailed me after I met her in Atlanta, and in late 2013 she sent me an email saying, "Do you want to play I'm playing with Dennis. Do you want to play the mixed world championships in Sanya?" And we did. And we got to the round of 16, and the seed lost. And we could not beat a Chinese team in the round of 16, so we tied for 9th.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I don't even. It's hard for me to say. I can't be sorry with that result. I mean, not at all. Not at all.
No, you can't actually be sorry for that result.
I've come so far, and bridge is such a maddening game.
Well, 5 years ago, John, you weren't. How much were you even playing? How many years had you been playing back then? 5 years ago.
Well, I started playing nationals in Memphis, which was spring of 2012.
12. Oh, so you've been playing nationals for a year.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Well, two full years of nationals.
2 full years.
Wait, 3? No, 2.5, because Sanya was in August, I think August.
2014.
Anyway, who are you playing? Who are you playing the world championship with this year?
That's a good question. I am still in school.
Dude, burn.
Well, I don't know.
You thinking about taking the semester? Are you gonna graduate?
Well, I have 1 more year. Like, how can I not graduate? But then again, how could they put this at the worst possible time? Like my senior fall. Like, I just need to do it. So I don't know. I'm going back and forth on whether or not, and I don't want to miss it. This part of me inside is always worried that how many, I always keep thinking with bridge as an aging game, how many more of these do we have? How many more of these great tournaments do we have left?
Your audio sounds different.
How about now?
It sounds much better now.
Okay. I guess I was doing something weird. with all these tournaments. Did you hear what I said though?
Yeah, I heard what you said. You can say it again if you want, because we might re-record it. You're talking about the push and pull of bridge in college and playing how the world championships are scheduled poorly.
Well, the problem is that I came into the bridge world not too late, but I would have loved to be in the bridge world when it was booming, like right at the start. Right in the not when the bridge professionalism started with Meckwell and all these guys. They started big time proing these teams back in the 70s, and I mean that's just some of the stories I've heard. And I'm sad that I missed it. I feel like I was born 40 years too late.
I think that's the wrong attitude to have.
I'm sure it is the wrong attitude to have. I'm sure it is. I'm sure it's the wrong attitude to have. It feels realistic to me and also pessimistic.
It feels realistic. Is that what you said?
Yeah, but also pessimistic.
I've never thought of it that way. I mean, you're a much better player. You're a much better player than I am. I can tell you. So for those that don't know, Zach is one of the stars of Double Dummy, which is a documentary movie about his team in the 2012 World Youth Team Championships. And Zach plays with his brother Adam in that film. And Adam and I, we played a tournament in Iceland this year. And it's kind of easy. Like bridge is a game where it's easy to overestimate your own ability and underestimate other people's ability. It's very easy for me to do that, at least.
No, that's definitely true.
And Michael Rimstead said he and his brother wanted to play, and they were looking for teammates and a partner. So I needed a partner, and Adam, I called him, and he was available, and we had a great time. And it was really humbling because I had never played with him before, and he's like this kid from my movie. I mean, he's 26 now, I think, or maybe 25, but he's just like it was evident pretty quickly that he's a lot better than I am. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of like, whoa. So that was a good wake up call for me in terms of kind of like the malaise that goes on in my mind about where I stand in the game. Just because I've had good results, like going back to the tournament in Sanya, like there's so much randomness to bridge, and there's so much like for another example, in Sanya we also played the Rosenblum, and we were four-handed. I played with Migri, Michael Burrell, and Yaniv Zak, who's Michael's regular Israeli partner. And after the first day, we were in third place, qualifying. And the second day, we lost our first 7 matches, and we just didn't even sniff. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, even today, we had a 70% game at the club, and it's like frustrating because I screwed up a defense that seemed like we could dummy lock declare, and I just didn't see it, and that's really frustrating for me.
Yeah, but that's not even my point. Is that bridge is great, but in some sense you have. I don't know if it's true, but it seems like it's peaked right in popularity, and. That's scary to me as a bridge pro, because who knows where it's going to go. So, and it just doesn't seem good. The average age is ever increasing. And so I have it's very dissonance inducing for me that I have to miss these tournaments when I don't really know how long the getting is going to be good, so to speak. Like, where is the threshold when people stop wanting to hire professional teams? Like, the way the world works is if you want to be competitive in one of these really big knockouts and really big tournaments, you need to be on a team with a really strong client.
Right.
Or else it just, the good players want to make money. That's just the way it is. The good players will only play if they're making money. So because the world shifted this way, how much longer is it still going to be appealing? Is the field still going to be strong enough? Is it still going to be appealing? there are definitely more clients that are leaving the game than are coming into the game. And that's my view of what's happening. I think it's pessimistic for sure, but
Well, what are you doing? What are you doing about that?
what am I doing about that? I am doing something about it. First of all, I started a club at Tufts here in Tufts, which I really enjoyed doing. I started my freshman year, and then it really didn't take off until this year. I stopped trying. It's very hard to bring young people into bridge, because it's just so like you're a college student, right? And there's this game that takes hours to even learn before you can even say you're bad at the game. You don't even before you can even say, "Oh, I suck at bridge." It takes hours to learn it. Hours and hours and hours and hours just to learn the rules and the dynamics of the game, right? And that's too long. It takes 0.5 minutes to learn how to play Fortnite. Okay, Fortnite is a great example of this thing that came about and is now like the most popular game like in so long. Every kid is playing Fortnite. It's just this game on video games.
I've never heard of it. Actually, I've heard of it, I think.
Let's better thing is a better example, I think, is let's look at chess and poker in relation to bridge. Okay, poker is gaining popularity among young people. It's a card game.
Okay.
People are saying card games, no, there's so many things to do on the internet and whatnot. Card games are good. No, it's not card games. Poker's gaining popularity. Everyone loves poker. There's money in poker. There's strategy in poker. People are getting better at poker, just like people are getting better at bridge, but people are getting better at poker. And there are more people playing poker. And I don't think anyone can disagree that poker is so much easier to learn than bridge. Right? So that may be a reason. And there's money. And people are like, you can make money. When I tell people I make money playing bridge, they're like, you can make money playing bridge? And I'm like, yeah, it's not really that simple. It takes like years of practice and becoming better and working on it, but you can make money playing bridge. And then I think chess is a more direct example, because chess and bridge often get related in that they're both mind games and hard to play and hard to learn and hard to get good at. Chess still has an enormous young person following. Why is this happening? Well, so when I was at my last bridge club, I heard something really interesting. One of the kids in my club said something very interesting, and it's like the advantage of online bridge is that you can play one hand or two hands and then just be done. Like you can get your fix of bridge and then just be done, and I guess is appealing to young people. And I think that's something that I had just thought of. I never really thought of that having appeal before, right? Because bridge, people like you and me, Johnny, we play bridge, we can't get enough of it, right?
Right.
We just play it for however long, because it's like the best game ever, and everyone knows that. But everyone knows it plays it. But for these guys, like the appeal is not in that. The appeal is that they can just sit down and play one hand. Like people still love strategies and challenges, and they're playing strategy games. But it's that the bridge as a game is too time consuming, too hard to learn.
I feel like when I sit down to play a hand or two online, I tend to do it kind of mindlessly. That's just what I feel like. I mean,
right, but they don't. Right, someone who doesn't play a lot of bridge, if they sit down and play a hand or two of bridge, they're going to put their effort into it because that's all they intend to do.
But it's hard for me, even just at the table today, we were defending a hand, and we can go through my errors, but there's a hand where I opened a no trump. It went 2 hearts. We were just playing regular Leb and Saw. My partner bid 3 diamonds, and I had queen third, ace 9 fourth, 2 small, ace king queen fourth. So I bid 3 no trump.
Don't see that as an error yet.
No, it's not an error. And thank you. And so they lead a small club. And dummy has ace third, king and 1, king jack 6th, and Jack and one.
Thank you, partner.
And my partner says, shouldn't have any problem making this.
Oh my god. Just stay in bridge. Like anything along the lines of I hope it's not too much. It's like the biggest curse in bridge because then your partner has this psychological problem where they're like, oh, I need to make at least 5 now because he said that. It's terrible.
That's true. That's funny because like those things are like they're kind of unconscious, but
they're real.
That's a good point that you made.
Adam doesn't allow that anymore. We are not the next time. Every time we like if we ever make a comment like, oh, I hope it's not too much, or like you shouldn't have any trouble. Like that's like we owe the other one like $20 or something. Like it's so bad to say that to your partner.
I actually felt like Adam was stoned in Iceland because he was so just like emotionless at the table at first.
No, that changes. He was trying really hard. That's not him. I mean, I'm obviously more emotional than him, right? Like, I'm the most emotional, like, emoting bridge player. I mean, I'm hoping it's a maturity thing because I can't. That's one of my biggest problems. Like the bridge, as I've gotten older, you realize there's 2 parts to the game. There's the actual game itself, and then there's the gamesmanship. There's the partnership skills and the gamesmanship. And I am not a good partner. I mean, I'm a good person, and people usually enjoy being around me. I hope, at the bridge table. But I can be really just not a pleasant partner to be across from, especially if things are going badly.
Well, if you realize that, you're ahead of the game.
Right, and I know that, I feel like I'm ahead of the game, except it doesn't do anything to help, right? Because I'm still, I can still feel myself being a jerk when something goes wrong.
Well, maybe that's an important release for you in terms of moving on to the next hand. I'm not saying it's ideal, but
it's very not ideal, right? It's like really, it's an important release, sure, but it's like how to like ruin your partner's game.
I have seen you jump your partner pretty bad.
You have? Oh.
Yeah. In Orlando, you were playing with an older gentleman, and you opened 2 clubs and he bid 2 hearts, which I think was natural, but you weren't sure if it was double negative or not. So you jumped a 3-0, and I think you might make a slam. Anyway, 3-0 is not the best contract, which he passed. And you're just when you saw dummy, you were not happy. And then you even admitted after the hand that you didn't know if 2 hearts was double negative or what, like if you were you didn't know your system. So it was funny because it was your bad.
How dare you?
What's that?
How dare you say that I'm at fault? I would never.
You said it yourself.
Yeah, no, I'm very much the first one to say when I made a bridge mistake.
But it didn't seem like it. It seemed like it was all your partner. Like even in your admitting
that would be a misanalysis of the situation, right? So it's a projecting. It's a projectile.
Yes, it's totally projecting.
Total projection.
Total.
And then usually like a minute later, if I think I'm wrong, I'll be like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I was wrong."
I just didn't know if you knew the concept projection.
Oh, I know it well. I'm a professional projector, actually. And no, it's something that really plagues Adam and my partnership, and everyone knows it.
Right.
Everyone knows that we're like this pair with like that's doing great and has had really good results recently, but they just scream at each other, right?
You still scream at each other?
I wouldn't say we. I don't say we still scream at each other per se.
It's gotten better, I'm sure.
It's gotten a lot better. Age. Like for example, we were in Philly. We won the NAPs.
Right.
It's like we almost didn't even qualify after the first.
Oh my
day.
gosh.
Yeah, we had like a decent game in the morning. We weren't really, we had one bad board. I made a bad bid. I said I'm sorry. We moved on. Second game, we had this just disaster from hell. We can't move on. Somehow we still managed to qualify. But like as we get towards the end, so that event was really funny. Like we had maybe 8 kibitzers at all times in the second session, second final. Like we had everyone from New England. It's before the tournament actually starts.
Yeah.
Right. And there are maybe 4 or 5 really competitive pairs in the NAPs.
Yeah.
And so whoever was there early wanted to watch was probably watching, us, or all of our town people were watching, all the followers were watching us play. And then we had one hand towards the end of the session. We're having this ridiculous game. The opponents are doing ridiculous things against us. And we're Adam and I have played very much the style of bridge where we put pressure on immediately and then we try to let the opponents make the last wrong decision.
Yeah.
That's very much the mentality we play bridge with. And we've been doing a lot of good stuff in that sense, like, right, putting the pressure on and then opponents just getting it wrong. And that had been going well. So we're playing against Joel and Kent, who are in second, and clearly the only other pair that could catch us. Like we had this monster in the morning playing against Joel and Kent, and they're in 2 clubs or 2 diamonds. Right. This little tiny little contract, and Adam has to guess the hand. And I've carded very carefully.
Yeah.
I've carded very carefully. He still has to guess the hand. And in my mind, like the whole hand is mapped out. Like I carded him carefully. I'd shown him every card in my hand, the way I played my cards, like high, low here, low, high there, blah. We pitched this, didn't pitch that. A lot of negative stuff. I'd been perfect on defense. I was like, oh my God. And Joel leads something up towards dummy, and Adam has to decide whether or not to duck his ace. And I'm like, how does he not know my hand? I told him I'm sitting there. And when your partner tanks and is your brother, you just sit there and you try not to just like feel like the most anxious human being ever to exist on the face of the planet, but you are, and you can't help it. Yeah. Like I was just the most anxioso, like I can feel my hands like grabbing the skin off my cheek, like You try not to be, but you just are. And finally, after like 3 minutes, he just like gets it wrong. And we have that's one of our like 4 partnership rules. Like one of them is like, don't tell your partner you think you have a good dummy. The other one is if Adam's gonna tank, he has to get it right. Right? Those these very yeah, there's a partnership rules. These are very important rules. They're very important rules to have in partnerships. This is one of them.
That's a rule. If he's gonna tank, he's got to get it right.
It's a very important rule.
Oh my God.
So he tanks forever and finally gets it wrong, and I storm off. I claim declare because I knew the hand at that point too. So he claims while I move on to the next table. I get up. I don't say anything, but I'm clearly just pissed. Right. I get up. I don't say anything. I try not to say anything, and Adam's just sitting there trying to figure out what had happened. He was, he hadn't known the whole hand yet. He's looking at it because, just to try to figure out what had happened.
Yeah.
And I'm over the next table already, and I scream, Adam! I scream, Adam. The whole room, everyone like jolts up, and they hear me scream, Adam. We have like 8 kibitzers, and they're all like a little bit afraid now. And but that's just to be clear, that's a lot better than what it used to be. So that's my little whatever.
Yeah.
On that.
Well, the reason that I'm laughing so much on that one is because I have 3 sisters. I don't have any brothers.
Yeah.
And actually 2 of my sisters have played bridge a little bit. One of my sisters took lessons with her then boyfriend at Andrew Robson's Bridge Club in London.
Yep.
And my older sister filled out in our games when I was younger, and it was just my parents and her. Like we needed a 4th basically before I knew that there were bridge clubs or anything like the ACBL / tournaments, stuff like that.
Right.
And just the thought. I mean, my relationship with my sisters can be challenging, so I can really appreciate, like, I've never truly appreciated why it would be hard for the two of you, and like as fully as I did. Thank you for that description, like talking about your brother with like the not ducking the ace or not.
It was so perfect. It was so classic, right? We built these rules into our bridge game, but if he tanks, he has to get it right, and then he tanks and gets it wrong.
That's a lot of pressure too, though. Maybe is this rule about tanking and have to get it right?
It's obviously like partially a joke rule, right? Because
it has to be, yeah.
But like, as much as it's a joke, it's also really not a joke, because if he fucking takes 10 minutes while I'm about to die and like have a coronary at the table, like he should get it right. It's only fair to me.
It seems like Levin and Weinstein have a little bit of they have like a healthy amount of acrimony between the two of them from time to time.
They exhibit a lot of that sibling stuff too. They're very, but they're older. They're more mature. They played bridge. Bobby Levin's been playing professional bridge since he was in the womb. I mean, but these guys get it, right? And you know, they're starting to view Adam and I as on their scene now. So Bobby's throwing a little gamesmanship. Last time I played against Bobby, is like after one hand, I'm like talking to him about something. He just snaps at me. He's like, "You have to be a better partner."
Oh,
like, wow. I'm like, "Whoa," and I'm just like, "Okay."
Wow.
I'm like, "No, okay, I'll take it." Like, you can't do that or something like that. Just very quick snap instead of like responding to what I said, and I said, "Whatever, I'll take that." No, it's true. It's hard.
Well, like the first time that I've only played with Gavin, I played with Gavin right before I played in Memphis.
Gavin's very expressive,
and it was fun. That's funny that you say that. This was a long time ago, and I mean, I'd like to think I've traveled light years. I still got light years to go, but yeah. And maybe I should stop saying that. But he said one of his rules was like not to talk about hands during the game. And I have tried to implement that, and it's great in theory.
Great rule. Great
but
theory.
In practice,
impossible.
It's impossible. And you talk about with this situation,
so much discipline.
What?
It requires so much discipline.
Like you talk about the situation that you're in with Adam, and he got the play wrong against Joel.
Yeah.
And Kent, and it's like you have to be able to, and maybe you can do it with humor, like the right mix, like a good joke or something, but like it would be unnatural for. I mean, Adam's got to appreciate. He must be frustrated. He must appreciate how frustrated you are.
It doesn't really matter. I mean, he's there too. I mean, the whole point is it doesn't matter. I should just not say anything. That's what you have to do in that situation. You have to just not say anything, not let him know that you're upset. Just try to move on. Don't say anything. Just make it very clear that you're focusing on the next hand. Make it so your partner knows that that's what you're doing. You're focusing on the next hand. You're not focusing on the last hand. You're focusing on the next one, and that's something I am awful at, even though I know very well what the correct thing to do is because I've had such great people coaching me throughout my life.
Well, but think about this. I mean, think about you're talking about this hand, and frankly, just to be blunt about it, I feel like you've approached it very unempathetically, because I feel like everything that you told me had to do with you had done this, you had done that. Like you didn't. I don't feel like you looked at it from his. Like I haven't heard you say anything where you were looking at it from his perspective.
What do you mean from his perspective? From his perspective, it's just like it's just really annoying or like really demeaning.
What do you mean?
For him to like sit there and like have me just be like this.
No, but the play. I'm talking more about the technical play at the table.
Oh, I mean, I don't really know if he technically got it wrong or not. I'm not really sure.
But that's a big part of it.
No. See, I disagree with you, John.
I feel like you're like totally focused on outcome, and you did everything right. Okay, so pat yourself on the back for that. But I feel like I haven't heard you say explicitly like how he might have, like how you can appreciate how he might have missed, like there might be something that why it was not clear, because if it were clear he would have made the right play.
Right, if it were clear, of course he would have made the right play. But like what I'm saying is I don't think it matters if the play was wrong or right. The idea is your subsequent results are always going to be worse if you react or me.
But if you're more empathic, then you're going to be less triggered by your brother's
but any sort
mistakes.
But any sort of outward empathy might feel untoward also. I mean, especially...
But it doesn't have to be outward. Like it's an internal process, and it means that when your brother takes 10 minutes, like you react differently. You say, "Yeah, man, that was a tough play."
Uh-huh.
I'm not trying to lecture you. I'm saying
no. I'm trying to think what you said, and I'm going back to what you were saying, and then that's sort of unnatural, right? That's not how I'd ever naturally react to that.
Well, I'll tell you, one of the pieces of feedback that I've gotten from this, I mean, I've gotten good feedback from this podcast, and I've also gotten feedback that's like pretty, I mean, it's good feedback because people are telling me I'm not allowing the guests to talk enough, and it's about me, and I'm making it about myself. and
yeah.
And
look at this. It's all one big happy mishpah. It's all there. It all comes together. The world all fits.
But it's
just to say this now. Is you perhaps telling me this a projection of your own self inability to empathize with what other people were thinking?
Well, I think I would be a better partner. I know that one of the things about being a client that is a hard lesson to learn is that your professional partners who you're paying handsomely to play with you are not always going to get it right.
Uh-huh.
And it's easy to sit there and go, what the F? And I'll tell you, the article and the comments about Lou Stansby winning Sportsman of the Year like were mind bending to me, because I think it was Weinstein that said that talking about Stansby as a teammate, said he had either never questioned a result, or the only time he ever questioned a result was because it was like almost impossible that the result would have been, and he thought maybe they gave themselves an unnecessary under trick or something. And just like, and then there was another person that said that, like, I think Chip Martell said this, that somebody came out and they had a handsome lead and they were in a fourth quarter of a big knockout, and they came up and said, "How did you do?" And Chip said, "Yeah, we're going to win comfortably." And Lou chided him privately afterwards and said, "What if our teammates have a really bad card? Like, why would you put that? Why would you want to put that on them?"
No, like, it's all part of this game. There are people there. They're great. There's also this thing where there's a plateau, right? There's, at the top level, there's a plateau to how good you can be as an individual player.
Yeah.
Right. There's a plateau to how good you can be as an individual player. What comes next is partnership, right? And that's what makes Bridge so great. Is that, or who's the best part? It doesn't matter who the best player is up there. It matters who the best partnership is, right? And the best partnerships aren't always the two best players in the world. And that's why there's so many more aspects of partnership than just understanding each other's bridge and understanding your own and understanding the game itself from an individual aspect.
Well, I think you and Adam in some ways have an advantage because you guys love each other. You love each other.
No, that's the other thing is we think incredibly alike. We have this very we view hands. We take very similar approaches on a lot of hands. He just passes a little more. So we have this big partnership advantage in that sense. What we don't have is the gamesmanship partnership advantage, because, well, you say you love each other, right? Does that mean that husbands and wives have advantages at the bridge table?
No, but I think that well, I mean, that's a good point. I think that at the end of the day,
I think it's an inherent disadvantage to love you, to have an emotional attachment to your partner.
Well,
and I think a lot of people would agree with me. Name one.
It speaks to the story you spoke about earlier that made me laugh so hard. Sorry, I didn't.
I mean, name one, either partnership. I shouldn't say husband and wife. Could be anything, but name one partnership that consists of life partners that has lasted the test of time and has exhibited high levels of success.
You're saying a married couple? Is that the question?
Married couple, or even siblings, or mother's daughter, or son, mother's son, father's son.
I don't know of siblings off the top of my head, and I don't think I know of either of the other two either.
There are people. There are people that have done well. Test of time. I don't really know, because
I just don't feel like I'm going to sit down against any of those. Like, I'll give you the feedback. I don't feel like I'm going to sit down against anybody. Well, no, you two guys. I mean, I haven't played against you. I don't know that I've ever played against you two, actually.
I'm sure you have. Continue. You might have repressed it, but no, I'm kidding.
Anyway, whatever. I was going to say I'm not going to be intimidated by, but because I'm playing, I can't think of anybody that
no one really
intimidated by.
I like being, someone you don't like to play against. I think that's a compliment. Not if a really good player says that to you, but because they don't like your ethics, so they don't like you as a person. But if they really don't know what you have all the time, you're constantly making the opponent's life hard, they will want to, they'll say something like, oh, I don't want to play against them. Like, if a pair is like, I want to sit against the other pair. Like, I want to be the pair that want
right,
that they
yeah.
sit the pair. I think that's cool. I think that's like, you have scared someone just because of your bridge ability. And it can't be because you're an ass. Like, again, going back to that, it can't be because it's because of anything other than the bridge itself.
Yeah, I think it would be fun to play against you and Adam. I mean, I would enjoy beating you.
You definitely would enjoy it.
I would also love having you two on my team for a cycle and the trials and world championships, multiple.
Well, Johnny, I think that would be something we'd have to discuss away from the podcast.
You don't even know what a podcast is. You asked me via text right before we did this if you needed to put a nice shirt on.
Well, okay. To be fair to myself, right? I really don't know what a podcast is. Like, is a podcast like a millennial thing?
Kind of, yeah. Hammond has never listened to a podcast either, and he's turning 80 August 5th.
Right, and I'm turning spiritually 95 on May 20th.
Do you have a car?
I do have a car. It's a big baby blue minivan.
What kind of car does Adam have?
It is like, I don't know, some sort of Honda.
So what do you listen to in your car?
Like, I don't know. I feel like people. It is like a young person thing. I don't know. I don't know why. I don't really know podcasts. They're not like.
Do you listen to your phone in your car?
Yeah.
Like, podcast is like just another. What's that?
Like music on the aux cord. So
if you're interested in a subject or a person, there's an amazing information through podcast. It's an incredible medium, really.
Yeah, maybe I'll get more into them after doing this.
Yeah, you're gonna get the chance to hear yourself.
I hate that. What else? So we talked about a lot of the partnership dynamic. So where do you see the future of bridge? I know everyone asks this stupid cliche question, even though to be cliche, it has to be more mainstream. So that's an interesting thought too. But where do you see, like, bridge? going? How do you see Bridge lasting the test of time? To bring up another thing to say.
I feel like people, as a rule, underestimate the impact that they can have on an individual level.
Mm-hmm.
So, me personally, I love Bridge, and I think that's contagious. And I've made a movie in which you are a shining star. Thank God for you and Adam. Not that the rest of the cast isn't great, but you guys really, that brotherly dynamic really helps people relate, I think, to the film.
Yeah, I can see that.
And it's about, I mean, gosh, I hate saying this because I feel like a broken record. It's about to be available. So this is something that I've got that I'll be interested to hear your feedback on. So instead, I told people I was going to release the film on my website on March 1st and didn't. And part of the reason I didn't do that is I wanted to submit the film to this production company, Participant Media, and I did that, and I couldn't have lived with myself if I hadn't done it. So they got back to me. They're passing on it, and that was expected, but it was a fun process to at least put it in front of them. So now on May 7th, the film is going to be available through a website called Tug, and Tug has relationships with thousands of theaters throughout the United States and Australia.
Yeah.
And what you can do is go on there, and if you're interested in screening the film, we'll have a web page starting on May 7th, and basically sign up as a promoter and say, I want to screen this film in my town at this theater on this date at this time. So Tug will create a web page for that screening, and then it's your responsibility as the promoter to share that with your friends and family and bridge players and you name it. And what I want it to be is like a community process, because part of what concerns me is that making the film available online, that people, like, I feel like bridge players need to come together, not just to play bridge, but to get together and have conversations and just relate away from the bridge table. And
yeah, that's the problem. I agree with you wholeheartedly, John, because that's the problem with online bridge. They're missing out on the whole community of of a bridge tournament.
And I don't even want it to be concurrent with bridge. I don't even want screenings necessarily to be concurrent with bridge tournaments, because I feel like people go to bridge tournaments to play bridge, and they're focused on bridge.
Right.
I mean, I will tell you, when we watched the film in Toronto and you were there for that first screening, about halfway through the film, I was like kind of miserable, like, oh my God, this film stinks. It's no good, blah, blah, blah. And then people were laughing at a scene where you and Adam were at each other. And I turned around and there you are cracking up. And that was like the biggest relief for me, because all of a sudden I could enjoy like the rest of the film.
Well, the problem with anything bridge is that it's hard to get mainstream appeal.
Yeah, tell me about it. I've been rejected by all but the Virginia Film Festival, which is my hometown film festival. I tried for Boston Film Festival, which I thought I might have a good chance with because you guys are in it. No, thank you. I mean, film festivals are kind of in city.
Bridge is so far out of the mainstream. It's so you don't even like.
But it's an opportunity. You have to look at it as an opportunity.
Yeah, like you saw Patty Tucker is doing great things. She tried to get on Shark Tank. I thought that was an amazing idea. Right? Get the game on Shark Tank. Get people like, what's bridge?
An article on a Sixers website, Liberty Ballers, where the guy was talking about, he was making a case that Robert Covington is a top 30 player in the NBA. And the whole first 3 or 4 paragraphs of the article was like explaining duplicate bridge and how we don't have that advantage in the NBA.
Who? This guy?
What's that?
This guy was saying what? Who doesn't have the advantage in the NBA? The author was saying how, which is actually kind of a flawed argument, because duplicate bridge is
Well, not entirely. I mean, but he basically it's just an article where he explains the concept of duplicate bridge, and he says that because you don't have the same, like you don't have, everybody's not playing with the same power forward, everybody's not playing with the same point guard. So Robert Covington is really, like, I guess it was basically an article. He's number one in some advanced statistics category.
Robert Covington.
Do you know who he is?
Yeah, he's like a player on the Sixers.
Have you watched either of the games?
I did not watch. I watched the first game.
Ugh.
I did not watch last night's game. I did not watch that game.
Adam texted me a couple times. It was just brutal.
Wait, they're up 45-24. That was the only thing I knew.
Yeah, 45-24. And they lost.
Oh my god, I love that.
Oh. Yeah, and like Jason Tatum, who we traded to get Markelle Fultz, and he's not playing. I'm a diehard Sixers fan. It's embarrassing, actually. And your brother knows it.
All right. Anyway, I'm the future bridge. Getting back to what I was thinking, because I don't know. I was thinking out loud. It's as bad. It's as bad. I think it's where it has to go and where I want it to go are not the same thing, right? Because I just want it to stay. Like, I love going to these nationals, seeing all these people that I built a community around. Like, first of all, did you see this? I saw they were getting rid of midnights.
Really?
They're getting rid of them completely as a concept.
Wow.
And I said, what do you want to do? Eliminate the fun for young people? Like, are you doing everything you can to get young people to not play the game? Like, everything they do seems to, with the purpose of not having young people playing more bridge. Like, they feel like somehow the ACBL thinks that it's sustainable to continually get retirees to play, get more and more retirees to play. Right? And maybe that does seem sustainable, sort of. Like, you know, if some retirees die, then they get more to play. And when they retire, they get targeted with a bridge ad.
Yeah, but that's not going to get you people that necessarily are going to be clients at World Championships. And
destroys real bridge. Bridge is going to become a club game only, if that's what they continue to do.
But I tell you, we did a screening in February here in Charlottesville, not the film festival, and there's already a father and son taking beginning bridge classes. There's a friend of mine who says she wants to learn, and her husband said you don't have enough time, and then we were talking about it, and her father plays, and I said, well, then you get your kids learn, and that's how you play. Like,
yeah,
you play with your kids like that. I mean, that's the big, if you ask me, is like the ability to spend quality time with your family. That is probably the number one selling point.
I can see that. I also, what else is I think? I mean, the other problem is you can make it an online game. Like the kid who one of the members of my bridge club was saying, oh, I can just sit down and play online, one or two hands, and I'll feel like I'm doing, you know, I do that once or twice a day, and I'll continue to get a better feel of the game, and I find it enjoyable as a mental challenge. And so that's something you could go to bring the game online fully, and then you just miss the whole community aspect of it. So that's more about me. That's why I worry about missing things like this upcoming World Championship, because I don't know how many, like I said at the very beginning, I don't know how many more of these great championships are going to be prestigious. I mean, in my lifetime.
Well, I won one of the last New York Risingers. Right.
Like that, everything. The Golden Pairs is nothing like it used to be. There's these events that used to be just prestigious that are losing prestige, and when prestige is gone, what is bridge anymore? I mean,
what's your backup?
That's an even scarier thought. That's scarier than missing the whatevers, the World Championships in Orlando. What's my backup? I don't really know. The other thing about Bridge is it's afforded me a lot of really good business connections. If I ever get myself into shape to become a business professional in any sense. For example, I'm a psychology major here at Tufts, right?
Yeah.
And who else is a Bridge client than Marty Seligman?
Yeah.
Right, who's one of the top cited psychologists in America. And so I just, and I've been working a little with him, just trying to talk to him and just trying to get to know him a little better and better. Tap him for information. He's a nice guy. He's very pleasant to talk to. We've had a lot of talks. He took me out to dinner a couple times. But I was sort of a go-getter on that one. We'll pat on the back, right? Because I just won the Sillador Pairs. And I was in this like great elated mood. And I see Marty Seligman, and I'm like, oh, I'm a psych major. I obviously need to introduce myself.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, I'm Zach Grossack. How are you? But anyway,
I know of Marty. I don't know what he looks like, so I haven't met him.
So at the end of the day, if it becomes to be that this bridge is no longer a profession that's sustainable, I have these really cool ends in the bridge worlds,
So what's something that he's shared with you, or that
just I like, yeah.
Did you say he's one of the most cited psychologists, like in articles? Is that or literature?
Yeah, that's yeah, he is. Very highly cited. He was the president of the American Psychological Association. He's a very well-known author, psychological author, psychologist.
Now, have you come across him in your coursework at?
Yeah, I came across him. I was reading an article on Psych Info for a paper, and one of the experimenters, it was a highly cited article. Those are little buzz things, like, right? If you're doing a research paper for psychology, you look for the most cited papers on Psych Info.
If you're Zach Grossack.
Or anyone with a brain. But, because they're reliable and you'll get good information out of it. So
I see.
So I did that, and who else?
That's the herd mentality, man. Come on.
Whatever. So came across that, and it's a lot of really cool connections to make in the bridge world. And another thing I've learned my whole, Tufts has this really cool program on entrepreneurial studies.
Yeah.
Business, starting a business, the makings of a business, the finances of a business, the creative process behind a business. It's a really cool program. And one of the teachers I had for marketing, constantly tells me it's all about the connections.
Yeah.
All about the connections you make throughout your life, and using those and utilizing those and keeping in touch with those. So he's like, loves LinkedIn, whatever, but he was fascinated with my bridge thing because he thought that was like the best thing ever for my professional career, right? I can make all these connections with these very successful people. So what's my plan? I don't know. Make connections.
When you went up to Marty, did you quote something?
No. That'd be weird.
You're just like, I won the Silladors. Recognize.
No. I was just like, no, I didn't say anything about
that. I think honestly, that is something that I don't feel like I've ever been disappointed in, just going up and putting myself out there and being genuinely interested in somebody. I mean, I'm not saying I do it all the time, but even in bridge, I mean, it's easy for me. Like, one of the things that I wish I were more outgoing at these bridge tournaments, because I see people and I have this reaction to them, and I'm just not friendly. And it's like, I mean, if we
but you can't fake interest either, though. Like, people will react positively only when you clearly
That's
want.
True. That's
true. Right? Because you can sense that.
Yeah.
Totally.
But I'm not saying to go up to people just to be like, because then that never works either. But if you are interested in somebody, I definitely think that is like, I mean, so, the Marty Seligman thing was But then sometimes I feel like I'll do that, and then the next time I see the person, I'll sort of think that we're kind of like buddies and we have an in, and it's like,
yeah, no,
what's going on here? All right, so you're playing with Oren in where's the tournament in China?
Coming back to China.
Back in China.
John, if you can believe it, I'm not particularly looking forward to going back to China to play a bridge tournament, a junior bridge tournament.
Yeah.
You can believe it.
There's no film crew this time?
There's no film crew this time.
Yeah. I mean, where's the juice?
Where's the I mean, I really, it's so much flying and you never recover. You never really fully recover from it in the mental state you want to be. And then part 2, I just, I don't know.
Say it.
I've had a lot. Junior tournaments are fun, and they were fun. And it's not that I've outgrown them because I haven't. I love junior tournaments. And as my life goes on, I want to start focusing more on the open tournaments.
Yeah, but you've yet to win one of these big open junior tournaments.
That's true. I have yet to win one of these big open junior tournaments, and the other part of it is it's not winning without Adam is not really we came up as the brothers. It didn't really.
Yeah, but couldn't you needle him a little bit if you won one without him?
Right, but what's more fun, needling or actually winning?
Or maybe him being happy for you if you won.
It's always bittersweet.
What's the result that Adam has that burns you the hardest?
I don't know. I don't think there is.
What's that result that Adam has that you're most happy for him?
When we won the GNTs together.
Yeah.
That was really well, there's nothing. There will never quite be the feeling that we had when we locked in the fast pairs.
Yeah.
We had this round against two former juniors, Jason Chu and Kevin Fay. In the morning we had like this magic game.
Yeah.
In the fast pairs. This is 2014 in Las Vegas. We have this round. We have the morning session. The first day we have nothing special. We had 256s or 57s or something, and we qualify middle of the pack, upper middle of the pack for second day. And the first session we're sitting down, and there's a little something magic in the air. Who knows what it was? Johnny Kraniak comes over to us. He's in the same event. And, everyone thinks there weren't that many great pairs in this event. Everyone thinks Johnny and Vinny were the best pair. They were the best pair. They still would be the best pair in this event. And, he comes over to us and says, good luck. And Adam says something like, watch out or something. We sit down. This first game, we have like this absolute magic game, 72%.
Ooh.
Really, in this first session. And then second session, we start playing, and the first round wasn't so great, but then, nothing's really going that badly. And then it starts going really well. And then we're sitting down against Jason Chu and Kevin Fay, former juniors, and we have like this ridiculous thing where we go plus 1150 and 3-0 doubled. And then we got like 800 on the next board. It was like this most ridiculous round ever. And we leave, and like it's become very clear to us that we're having a huge game again. All of a sudden, Adam looks me dead in the eyes, and he like completely seriously says they're going to think we're cheating.
What?
Yeah, that's what he says to me. And I said, what? He said, dude, we're going to win. We won the event by 5 boards. And he was just completely, and it was like the most surreal thing ever, because no one really heard of us yet, besides your movie.
Wait. First of all, you guys scared Nickel in Las Vegas.
Did we scare Nickel? Yeah,
Yes.
we did. We won. We were up after a set or something.
You gave him a little something to think about. I remember that because we were sitting right near you guys in the. I don't remember if it was round of 60. It must have been 64.
I mean, it was just such a surreal event. He's like, "We're gonna think we're cheating." Not an actual like.
That's an odd reaction. I'm surprised that that's what went through his mind.
No, but we laughed. It wasn't that serious. But it was like we laughed. But it's like, oh my god, we're having like the best game ever.
Oh, he wasn't legitimately okay.
Like who legitimately? What do you mean legitimately?
I don't know. I mean, it just. I'm glad you laughed.
I'm actually worried about that. Like we're about to win this event. You just comes to me. We're gonna think we're cheating. I'm like, oh my god.
I mean, like he said it like somewhat as a joke.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Your humor's, maybe lost on me.
No, I guess it was. All right, take that one out.
The cheating part? That would be more odd. Do you want to edit this? Do you want me to send you the edited version?
Do you want me to edit it too? Do you want me to put my 2 cents in?
Not really.
All right.
You're welcome to. I mean, if you honestly don't want me to you
can take out whatever you want.
I think that Adam is very ethical. I would be shocked. I'll put it that way. If okay.
Johnny, we have the most disastrous results you've ever seen. We would be the worst cheaters in America.
So Cran was playing with Vince?
In the same event, yeah.
Yeah. I played against Cran and Vince in the one time I played the Fast Pairs. That result, by the way, is losing the Fast Pairs has been.
It was back when the Fast Pairs had some play. The Fast Pairs is not doing well.
No, they've moved it. I mean, it's scheduled against the Swiss on the last 2 days of the spring, isn't it?
Yep. It's not doing well anymore.
Yeah. So that's what's the word I'm trying to think of? Deflation. That's some deflation of that crown. In the eyes of the future generations of bridge players who are
that was such a huge turning point in their bridge career when we won that. And then
you're saying that seriously?
It was enormous.
Yeah, right.
It was just enormous. Like we just won this event. Right. All these things started happening. I mean, it was only 4 years ago.
I would love to be a Fast Pairs champion. Don't get me wrong.
It was only 4 years ago. To think of that was only 4 years ago. It's pretty amazing.
I would love to. I hope that when I start sniffing 10,000 master points, I don't have to go hunting for.
Johnny, you just play with me in one of these Ranky Dink 2 days, and we'll be just fine. And sit there, be a good boy.
Just sit there.
Be a good boy. Don't do anything too out there, and just be a good boy. And
oh my god. Oh. Your rate, I don't know if I can afford it.
Maybe this podcast will make you some money.
Not based on your speculation about the future of bridge. And if you don't even have
I mean, no, there is a future for it, but it just feels like it's online. That's basically what I wanted to get at, and that just scares the fucking shit out of me. No, you can edit that out if you need to.
All right. Well, I think bridge is well,
I mean, there's more I think there's a lot you can do at a local level to bring young people into it.
Well, sure. There's so much. Online is great for bridge.
Yep.
I don't think it will take away tournaments. I mean, tournaments are. I mean, that's not even. Anyway, that's just like face to face in anything. I think is more enjoyable than. We're doing this conversation over Skype, so it would. I mean, but then I have your attention for this length of time, and that doesn't always happen. We've made the time, so I mean, I think a big part of life is you make the time for the things you love, and that's how totally life works.
I totally agree with that one.
You want to say anything intelligent, eloquent, beautiful, perhaps, before we?
I don't think I could if I wanted to. No. John, thanks for having me. I don't really know what I have to say.
How's your mom?
My mom's great.
Yeah.
My mom is great. My mom just had her hip replaced. My mom is walking great again. She's in New York. Today is my parents' 30. It was yesterday. Yesterday was their 31st wedding anniversary.
Wow.
We're off to New York this weekend. It's amazing to me that my dad, after all these years, has no idea how to play bridge. He has no interest, no idea, doesn't really get it. Like, there's so many things you don't get. Oh, you know what? Something I wanted to talk about that I've noticed that I started inviting people. The guys who are doing the movie, the other movie, the movie.
The Kids Table. The Kids Table. I think it's called The Kids Table.
You know bridge memes? Those are fantastic. These things called bridge memes.
Oh, I haven't seen them.
Let me invite you. It's like an amazing page. Like memes are an enormous pop culture phenomenon. Like they're kind of funny. Like you say a little quip and you have an image that goes along with it in like a funny way or contradicts it, or like something. Like an image portrays a feeling and you say like a line that relates to it. And it's just so, I think it's just so good. Like that is so much what needs to happen, right? Bridge needs to modernize, and this is so good for the game.
Yeah.
That is, that's amazing.
Did you see Peg Kaplan? I don't remember if it was on Facebook or Bridge Winners where she put out there the idea of Zach Grossack as the face of Bridge.
No, I did not see that. It actually surprised me.
It was in the last couple of weeks. I forget.
Was it under something?
I don't know. If you want, I can look it up. I can try to look it up, but I don't have it in front of me right now. I'll put it in the show notes.
I mean, you should. I mean, you could. There are a lot of people with a lot of personality in the game of bridge that could promote it very well. That aren't bridge teachers. I think the people that are promoting bridge right now as bridge teachers are not necessarily the most charismatic people. But there are people like Zia. You put Zia on a TV show with Christina Lund-Madsen, people will watch it because they're both, crazy in their own great way. And Zia's like amazing. He's like the most amazingly easy, like enjoyable person to be around, so long as you aren't offended easily. He's like the most amazingly enjoyable person to be around. He's like quick and he's steadfast and he doesn't really care. I don't know.
So we were playing Rubber Bridge before Philadelphia.
Yeah.
At the Regency in New York, and Zia's there.
I know this game. I'm really upset that I wasn't invited to this, by the way.
Zia's there. Bilda's there.
I would have shown up like a shot.
It was so good.
It was probably so fun.
So we had like a part score, and it goes a diamond by partner, 2 spades, and I had 2, 4, 2, 5. 7. I had ace, king, queen of clubs, and king, queen of hearts. Sorry. Did I have a stiff diamond? I think I had a stiff diamond. I might have stiff diamonds and queen third. Anyway, we had a part score, and so I doubled, and my partner bid 3 diamonds, which did not make. And maybe I should have asked you what you would bid. What would you bid?
I didn't really listen.
Let's just say you're 2, 4, 2, 5
Yep.
with a 14 count. Doubleton, king, queen, 4th. Doubleton, ace, king, queen, 5th.
It goes
a diamond, 2 spades to you, and you've got 40 on, so you just need 60 to make a vulnerable game, and you're in the 4th rubber.
And I have a 14 count. My partner's up in the bidding.
Yeah.
So double.
Okay. So your partner bids 3 diamonds and you go down.
Wouldn't I bid 3 spades over that?
Because
don't I have a game?
No, you've got a partial. You don't need you have 40 on.
I don't really get rubber bridge.
So if you,
I'm too young for rubber bridge.
Do you know what it takes to make a game?
100.
Okay, so if you make 3 of a minor, it's I think partner only had partner only had 5 diamonds. So anyway, I thought double was the right bid, and my partner chewed me out for my double. He just chewed me out. And so Zia's at the other table, so there's a break in the action, and I asked Zia what he would bid with my hand, and he said 3 clubs. And sometimes good players, like when you ask them these questions, and I'm not saying you're not a good player, but Zia's played a lot more rubber bridge than you. We won't disagree about that. They know that it's a loaded question, maybe, but I don't know. It just felt like
he does. Yeah, they always know. They know the other possible list. Yeah.
So he said probably 3 clubs. And so I was like, okay, that's good feedback, because I felt like double was just like clear, like not completely clear, but I felt like it was pretty clear.
Yeah, right.
And so my partner then starts ridiculing me for going to ask Zia for his opinion about a rubber bridge bid. And I'm like,
someone for asking Zia for his opinion.
I'm like,
Zia's my bridge hero, so it doesn't really.
I'm like, do you know who this guy is? The guy clearly knows who Zia is, but I was just like, sorry. No offense to you, but I think this is like a worthwhile question. So the guy says,
yeah, go ahead.
My grandmother, are you listening?
Yeah.
My grandmother and I will take you and Zia on in a set game. I'm like, okay.
Who is this?
I'm not going to tell you. So Zia and I were like, Zia's like, your grandmother?
What was I saying? I don't know if you ever played with him, but I had this privilege. I played against Zia, and, Zia had known who I was, sort of, and I played against him in where did I play against him? It must have been I played against him in where was the last Summer Nationals, John? DC?
No, I don't think so.
Where is it after DC? Jeez. No, it was. Well, it doesn't matter.
No, it was not DC. They all run together, but it was Toronto.
Yeah, but I played against Zia in DC.
Oh, okay.
And
great story, amazing story.
I'm playing against him, and we're playing against him. We're playing against him. He's on Vanita Gupta's team, and I'm playing for a guy named Larry Lebowitz, who I think you've met.
Larry.
Adams Larry. He's new up and comer. Great guy. We are ahead. Larry leaves the match at halftime. We're like ahead by 20. We keep the lead in the third quarter, and we're playing against Zia. And like we're doing good stuff, and Zia gets me on a board, and I'm like, oh my god, he's great. He like opened like something. He totally got me on the hand.
Yeah.
And then I get him back, and later I like spec double a 3-0, and we get 800 after he opens a no trump, and he's just like, well. Anyway, we end up losing by like this fraction, like by like 3 or 4.
Mm-hmm.
And after the round, he says, okay, we'll play. He comes up to me and says, okay, we'll play. And I say, and he's like, what's the next pair game? And I said, Blue Ribbons. He says, fine, you're on. So I had this amazing privilege of playing with him, but he's tough. He's tough because when you're playing with someone who's better than you, especially for me, like me playing with someone who's better than me, like knows like better than me and like knows more than me. It's like hard for me to play my own game because I play so out of my mind. There was one session we had one. We had one great session, but we had this amazing story where like, people do terrible things against Zia because just the same effect he has on his partners, he has on his opponents. People do terrible things. We have the total misunderstanding to this horrible slam that has no play. It has some play, actually, but on the lie of the cards, none whatsoever. The opponent revokes once, and Zia's going to play, and Zia knows he's going down on the breaks, whatever. He goes to play something the opponent revokes. So Zia says, no, take it back. We're not going to win like that.
Right.
So the opponent picks up his cards, the play keeps going. He's trying to get up for down 1 or down 2. He is given some line, and the guy revokes again. And it's extremely clear he's revoked again. No, and so we stop for a second. Zia stops for a second. I'm kind of into my own space, and the play keeps going. And the guy just clearly 2 tricks later shows up with a card in that suit. And I Zia looks up at me, and I'm sitting there, and Zia looks at me like this deadpan, with his deadpan face. He just looks at me, and I have to leave. I just start dying. I've never laughed so hard in my life. I get up from the table. I'm crying because I'm laughing so hard. I needed 5 full minutes to come back. The director comes over finally because it's like Twilight Zone. We go plus 1460. And it's oh my god, it's magic playing with this dude. But then the same thing happens. Then it's me who gets screwed over. And the session later, I'm playing with Zia, and some sort of his powers loom over me, and I can't get anything right. I'm sitting there and I can't get anything right. Everything I'm doing, I would never do again. I get everything wrong. It's the second day, and we needed a decent game to qualify. We didn't need anything special, but it was everything was going wrong. Somehow we ended up with 53% that game. But he's a great person to play with, and I firmly stand by. If you put him on a TV show or an ad for bridge, you'd get people wanting to play bridge to see this guy in action.
Yeah, well, you have to have the right concept and producer behind it that's going to understand and appreciate and really give him all the rope in order to figure that it takes a special producer, is what I would say, in order to make that come to life.
Agreed. Totally agreed.
Yeah.
Anyway, what Ali was saying is that bridge has been very good to me, and it will continue to be very good to me. And I've had these amazing experiences, meeting these great connections in my life, not just in the game itself, but people who play it, and make good friends from it. I don't know. I would feel very immensely sad if it's something that doesn't continue in the way it is now for a very long time.
Well, you're participating in this film is a real big part of everything that I'm doing,
right? And
everything that I have to make that happen.
Yeah, what you're doing here, this podcast. This is very friendly. This is very bridge friendly. People who listen to this that don't play bridge or who scroll through podcasts at random, they're people look at YouTube videos at random. I assume this dude do the same thing with podcasts. So as we talked about, I don't really understand podcast culture. But I assume they do the same kind of thing as YouTube, where you just go through and listen, snippets of it. Maybe they'll get.
Well, if it comes up, if you hear your friends talking about it, you'd be like, oh yeah, my friend. I don't know. Maybe I'm being. Maybe I think we're friends. I think that's clear, so I'll say that. But you could be my friend had me on his podcast the other day, and you'd be if you're interested, you could check it out. That's a way that you can introduce. This is a way that you can introduce your friends to bridge.
That's a really good idea.
That it's
Thanks, friend.
What?
Thanks, friend.
I deserve that. I totally deserve that. Sometimes I just don't have the vocabulary, and so I'll start saying something like that. I was gonna say friend the whole time, but I forget. I couldn't think of the second part of it.
Your social anxiety.
Presumptuous. That's the word. So sometimes it's presumptuous for me to say that you're my friend. Anyway, because we almost got in a fight.
2 minutes later, that was really good.
What?
Thank God you thought of that 2 minutes later. It's very good.
Oh my God! Now you're busting on me.
Yeah.
The tables have turned.
That's also not something that was very uneloquent to say that I'm busting on you.
Is that not something that is in the vernacular anymore?
And definitely not, or not in the way that you're intending it.
Not in the way that I'm using it.
All right.
All right.
I have to go play. I guess I'm doing my part. I'm a 20-year-old and I'm organizing a cash bridge game that I have to go play in tonight.
Or that I have to go play in. Sounds like you're going to be taking some money from some of your
No rake. It's
friends.
not gambling if there's a rake.
What do you mean a cash bridge game?
I'm running a home game with some tables and an entry and prizes. Money, all the entries go back to the players.
Oh, cool.
I've been running it all over. I started it up. I had this idea. I said, listen, I want competitive bridge isn't at its height right now, and I want to bring it back. I want to bring back, pairs trying to compete against each other just for the shit of it, for the fun of it.
Do you have a web presence?
No. It's totally like through email and get people involved, and it's growing, but slowly. People are reluctant. It's, a lot of people who were once competitive players play online now.
Do these people know what they're doing?
Yeah, it's only experts. It's like experts. It's New England experts and either experts or people in my circle of either students or clients or whatnot.
Is Adam playing in the game tonight?
Adam is playing in the game tonight. Adam's playing. I got 14 pairs locked in, ready to go.
Is he jealous about the fact that you got to be on the podcast first?
I don't know. I think he's more jealous of my 4th national title.
Which is?
Silidors with Michael Rimstedt.
Oh, right.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
All right, John.
All right, buddy. Thanks so much. So the fun thing about being a podcast host is that you get to listen to yourself talk. And not only that, you get to have people critique how you talk, which can be quite humbling. But if you have the right mindset, it can be really worthwhile. I can't tell you how embarrassing it is to review an episode. Anyway, I'm very glad that this episode I edited very Spartanly thanks to internalizing your feedback. So if you have some more, please share it. I'm really happy with how this podcast is unfolding. I really enjoyed talking to Zach. He came off. He's great on screen. He's great on this episode. If I sound like Donald Trump, I apologize. Anyway, my next guest is going to be Adam Grossack, Zach's brother. So be on the lookout for that. Share it. Please share it with your friends. And then in the next week, tugg.com, we will have a Double Dummy hosting page there, and you can book a screening in your area where you can invite your friends, your bridge playing friends, your non-bridge playing friends, and show them what a great game we have. So until next time, thank you. Peace.